Hey guys, LevelUP here, continuing a mini-series on the chopper. To recap, in the last episode I talked about some offensive tips for the heli gunner. This episode I'm going to talk about some offensive tips for the heli pilot. Don't worry, I'll cover defensive tactics like dodging TV missiles, seat switching to extinguish the chopper, and other tactics in future episodes. So let's get to it. The most obvious weapon for the pilot are the rocket pods. For most pub server gameplay, I would recommend using the guided rocket as your pilot specialization. I'll cover some different loadouts later, but guided rocket should really be the standard. Now you can actually use your HUD to aim these rockets. The best advice I can give you is to position your target between your center crosshair and the floating eye bar. This is true for long shots as well as close shots. You can see here as I engage this chopper, I'm continually trying to keep him positioned in between my fixed crosshair and the floating eye bar. But let's take a step back and take a look at how it would be versus a tank. Now the guided rocket is definitely helping me out in this shot, but if I didn't have the vehicle positioned in between my eye bar and the fixed crosshair, I wouldn't be anywhere close. You see right at the end as I get him perfectly positioned, that's when I get the disable, and that's when my shots start to land. The next tip I can give you is to account for rocket drop. That is, that the rockets actually drop a bit at long ranges. Now it depends on your resolution, but if you play at or near 1080p, I've found that if you aim using the bottom part of your fixed crosshair, that is, the bottom part of the fixed crosshair that looks like the letter T, your shots should land. You see here I'm aiming in line with the bottom of the T and then halfway between that and the floating eye bar. This is true at almost any distance. This particular tactic is what I call a circle of death. It allows both you and your gunner to shoot at a flag or target while keeping a small profile to those you are shooting. Now you still try to position your target halfway in between your eye bar and your fixed crosshair, but otherwise, basically you just fly in circles with your nose pointed at the target. You do have to be careful with this though, and always make sure you're aware of threats coming from the enemy base. The pilot's next weapon are the heat-seeking missiles. The best advice I can give you is to stagger your shots whenever possible. The AA missiles actually reload independently of one another. So after you shoot your first shot, you can be waiting for that missile to reload while your enemy is deploying countermeasures. You do have to be careful with flares because there's a 4-second window after the flares deploy that you cannot shoot like you see here. The missile just goes straight up. So make sure after you shoot your first one, wait for him to flare, then do a silent count to about 4, and then shoot your next missile. Although technically not a pilot weapon, if a TV is lined up just right, the TV missile can act almost like a dumbfire missile. In the Viper, the TV missile shoots basically from the bottom of the fixed crosshair. If you line your gunner up well enough, he'll have to make minimal adjustments in order to hit incoming jets or other quick targets.
Yeah.
I'll leave you with a clip of just how deadly this combination can be if the gunner has to make minimal adjustments. Check it out.
I just did that team a favor by slaughtering those snipers. Yeah, as soon as you said jet, I was in the TV. And as soon as he was like slightly lined up, I fired. Yeah.
Ba bam bam ba dam bam.